Some deaths are so brutal, so senseless, that they leave an entire community in shock.
They are monsters.
It's just too much already.
Imagine a disabled teen gunned down in cold blood. His only crime? Wearing the wrong color shoes. A young man beaten to death simply for stepping in to protect two teens from harassment. Or a body, nearly severed in half, cruelly folded and stuffed into a garbage can like trash. These aren't just tragedies, they're nightmares brought to life. Brace yourself as we uncover some of the worst ways young people have died. Part 2. What kind of monster lures a pregnant teen with baby clothes, only to steal the life growing inside her? In April 2019, 19-year-old Marlen Ochoa Lopez went missing in Chicago after meeting Clarissa Figueroa through a Facebook group for pregnant women. Clarissa had promised baby supplies but had sinister intentions. After losing her adult son, she faked a pregnancy and plotted for months to acquire a newborn. Marlene first visited Clarissa's home on April 1st and left unharmed. When she returned on April 23rd to collect baby clothes, Clarissa's daughter, Desiree, distracted her with a photo album while Clarissa strangled her with a coaxial cable. They then used a butcher knife to cut baby Giovanni from Marlene's womb. Her body was hidden in a garbage can. Later that day, Clarissa called 911 claiming she had just given birth at home and that her baby wasn't breathing. Baby Giovanni was rushed to the hospital but suffered severe brain damage due to oxygen deprivation. He died 2 months later. Marlen's family searched tirelessly until DNA tests identified the baby and led police to discover Marlen's remains weeks later. In 2024, Clarissa was sentenced to 50 years in prison for murder. Desiree received 30 years for her role. Marlen died trusting an act of kindness. A chilling reminder that not every outstretched hand has good intentions. Red t-shirt and red shoes. That's all it took to mark 19-year-old Tavin Price for death. On May 29, 2015, Tavin, his mother Jennifer Rivers, and family friend Hillary Wade stopped at a car wash in South Los Angeles. While Tavin and Wade visited a nearby smoke shop, gang members noticed his red attire. They confronted him, demanding to know if he was affiliated with a rival gang. Tavin, who had an intellectual disability, didn't understand the danger. He wasn't in a gang. He was just a young man wearing his favorite colors. Wade explained Tavin's disability, but it didn't matter. The group returned to the car wash, where Tavin told his mother about the confrontation. Moments later, Kanasho Johns approached and shot Tavin 3 times, twice in the chest and once in the arm. Jennifer watched in horror as her son collapsed. She chased after the shooter but quickly returned to her dying son. "I tried to save him," she said through tears, "but I couldn't." Tavin died at the hospital later that day. His killers, Kanasho Johns and Kevin Dion Johnson, were later convicted and sentenced to 50 years to life in prison. A third man, Dwight Smith, pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter for his role in the confrontation. Tavin Price was just 19, described as having the mental capacity of a 12-year-old. His only crime? Wearing the wrong colors in gang territory. His death highlights the senseless violence that continues to plague communities and claim innocent lives. Iceland, a country so safe that police don't carry guns and murders are rare. But in January 2017, that sense of security was shattered. Birna Brian's daughter, a 20-year-old woman, was enjoying a night out in Reykjavik. CCTV footage captured her last known moments, walking alone at 5 a.m., buying a kebab on Laugavegur, the main shopping street. Then, she vanished. For 8 days, Iceland held its breath. The largest search in the country's history mobilized, with 800 volunteers scouring the area. A breakthrough came when Berna's Doc Martens boots were found near Hafnarfjordur harbor. Suspicion turned to a Greenlandic fishing trawler, the Polar Nanook, docked nearby. Investigators traced a red Kia Rio rental car seen in the area to Thomas Miller Olsen, a crew member of the Polar Nanook. Berna's blood was found in the car, and her driving license in the ship's trash. In a grim discovery, Berna's body was found washed up on a beach near Selvogsvidi Lighthouse, over 40 kilometers from Reykjavik. The autopsy revealed Berna had been strangled, hit in the face, and drowned. Miller Olsen was convicted of her murder and sentenced to 19 years in prison. He was also found guilty of smuggling 20 kilograms of hashish. Berna's murder shook Iceland to its core. It led to increased surveillance in Reykjavik and changed attitudes towards personal safety. The case united Iceland and Greenland in grief, with vigils held in both countries. This tragic event served as a cruel reminder that even in the safest places, darkness can find its way in. Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear kindness, courage, and a heart that refuses to ignore injustice. Tuğçe Albayrak was one of them. On November 15, 2014, the 23-year-old German student of Turkish descent was at a McDonald's in Offenbach when she heard cries for help. Two teenage girls were being harassed in the restroom. Without hesitation, Tuğçe stepped in, standing up to the aggressors and helping the girls escape. But one of the harassers, 18-year-old Sanel M., wasn't done. Later that night, outside the restaurant, he confronted Tuğçe in the parking lot. A surveillance video captured the tragic moment. Sanel M. struck Tuğçe so hard that she collapsed, hitting her head on the pavement. She never regained consciousness. For 2 weeks, Germany held its breath. On November 28th, her 23rd birthday, Tuğçe's family made the heartbreaking decision to take her off life support. Tuğçe's bravery sparked national mourning and ignited a debate about civil courage and youth crime. Thousands attended candlelight vigils across the country. German President Joachim Gauck praised her as a role model, writing to her family, "Where other people looked the other way, Tuğçe showed exemplary courage and moral fortitude." Justice, however, felt bittersweet. Sanel M. received only a 3-year sentence in juvenile detention for causing grievous bodily harm leading to death. Tuğçe stood up when others stayed silent. Though her life was cut short, her courage inspired a nation. In death, she became a symbol of bravery and selflessness, reminding us all of the power of one person to make a difference. Prisons are violent places, but what happened to Nicholas Anthony Rodriguez was something out of a nightmare. On May 4, 2015, a riot erupted at California State Prison Solano. As guards quelled the chaos, something far more sinister was unfolding. It wasn't until nearly 15 hours later that officers made a gruesome discovery in a shower stall: Rodriguez's body, brutalized beyond belief. The 24-year-old inmate had been nearly sawed in half, his internal organs removed. It was a level of violence rarely seen, even behind bars. The horror deepened as details emerged. Rodriguez had gone missing after the riot, but officials initially assumed he had escaped. Only during a routine head count did they realize the chilling truth. His cellmate, Jesus Perez, a 46-year-old serving a life sentence for murder, became the prime suspect. Questions swirled. Was the riot a diversion? How could such a brutal act go unnoticed in a locked facility? The prison, housing nearly twice its intended population, was a powder keg of gang violence and overcrowding. Some speculated this was a message, a warning, or even a ritualistic killing. Justice, though delayed, eventually came. On February 26, 2019, nearly 4 years after the horrific crime, Perez was sentenced to 85 years to life in state prison for the first-degree murder of Rodriguez. The court heard how Perez had used an inmate-manufactured weapon to commit the gruesome act. While the sentencing brought some closure, the full truth of what happened that day, and how it could have occurred under the noses of prison staff, may never be fully known. Nicholas Anthony Rodriguez's death remains one of the most shocking in modern prison history, a stark reminder of the violence that can erupt behind bars. These young lives were stolen in ways too horrific to comprehend: senseless violence, unimaginable cruelty, and moments of pure evil that ended their stories far too soon. But their names, their pain, and their stories must not be forgotten. Which of these tragedies shook you the most? Let us know in the comments, and if you want to hear more shocking and heartbreaking true stories, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because the world is full of dark truths, and we're just getting started. See you in the next video.